This is Bourbon Bets, where bottles of bourbon are wagered over the power of arguments put forth by two idiots regarding their stupid opinions. Afterward, their pet android determines the winner will post a most scientific poll so the audience can decide. They also drink bourbon together.
All right, number 5. I have Memento.
And I have Memento.
And you have Memento.
Yeah. So I was wrong. We agreed on 2 spots.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'd say it's definitely top 5. It's again the same. See, and it's interesting that you pick up on the grief stuff. I more see his questioning reality and the nature of reality.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't discounting that. I just you had said that, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Trample on that.
No. But
Yeah.
In this one, though, there's a really interesting line where he actually defends the idea that there is objective reality.
Yes.
Right? It
Yep.
doesn't matter if I close my eyes. It's the world's still there. Doesn't matter whether I remember it or not. The world still things still happen. So,
And then he slams brakes.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing
it's a good movie. It's a real good movie.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
So I had a thought, and I was wondering, and this movie might be the one that best exemplifies this. The idea that grief and confusion about reality go hand in hand.
Oh. And the way he shows that is just with this fake amnesia, not fake, but this made up amnesia,
right?
Short-term amnesia thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd probably be interesting to go back and just not rewatch them, but rethink about all these just through that lens of the grief, which I think you did, but I don't think I did.
I did it completely accidentally.
It was one of those weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we agree on this. The other thing I like about this is that the protagonist is the bad guy.
Yeah, I love movies like that.
All right, number 4, I have Inception. We already argued about Inception. You have Prestige, which is a great movie. I mean, we're in the top 4 now. They're all great movies.
Right, and what I put ahead of it is not something that I would be like. Well, that's not true. I probably would be. I would be willing to argue the Dunkirk thing, but I think you'll come around on that anyway.
Give it enough bourbon.
Yeah, you had Prestige like number 2 though, right?
I have it at number 2. Yes.
So is it only David Bowie? Is that what did it?
What? No, it's because they mentioned Nikola Tesla. That's the only reason.
Oh, like I said, David Bowie.
You're asking why I have it higher?
No, I just would like to hear your thoughts on the movie in general.
I like that it's not. I mean, there's a little bit of the sci-fi piece, but very little, right? It's much more of just story, very similar to Dunkirk, right? He doesn't rely on any of the made-up worlds or, the paradoxes or any of that.
Someone has to drop one of these every once in a while to remind people that he doesn't need the others.
He doesn't need, he didn't need it at all in this. I mean, he and his brother wrote this one, and it's just a fantastic script and story. The concept is fantastic.
Yeah. I think honestly, I did not rewatch this one because I already had a high opinion of it.
I did because I couldn't remember what the twist was, which is great.
Well, I'm
watching it again.
If I had gone back and watched this one again, I wonder if I would have ranked it higher.
I remembered as about 2/3 of the way in, I was like, "Oh, I know now," but it was still great watching to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might rank it higher. Because originally when I made the list, I made it before I rewatched any, and it was not this high. And I moved it up.
Yeah, I can believe that. See, okay, so here's a question for you, and you'll be mad when I ask the question, but I'm going to ask anyway. You forgot the twist in Prestige. Could you ever sufficiently forget Inception enough to want to watch it again?
I did watch it again.
On purpose?
Yeah, I watched it last week.
And you enjoyed it?
I didn't enjoy it as much as the first time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What? I have Prestige higher on the list.
I know. I'm just making a point. Just one little point.
Okay. We'll let that sit there. All right, so that was 4. We talked about Prestige. 3, I have Interstellar.
I have Dunkirk. We talked about Dunkirk. I honestly think that'll move up your list. I really do. But only because, as you said, I think it's really hard to categorize that one.
It'd be interesting to do this again in like 5 years.
It really would. I actually think it would be interesting to do it again and actually watch a couple more. Like, I'd like to watch a couple of these movies with you because I would like to see your reaction at some points where I was, viscerally affected by what I was seeing or hearing.
But you have a lot more emotions than I do. So
I think I might have when I watched it. To be honest with you. I would, yeah.
Interstellar gets me in one very specific scene.
Okay.
I think it's very close to the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he finally shows back up, right? It's way later, and his daughter's,
Like
80 some years old.
Right.
That scene gets me.
Yep. Yeah.
But the whole story of him just trying to get back, right, doing whatever it takes, and that with the time dilation, all of that stuff. When they go down to the planet and come back up, and it's 30 years later, and the guy waited. It's like,
yeah,
that kind of just blows your mind.
Yes.
Can you imagine waiting on a ship for 30 years for people you don't know are going to come back?
No. On the same token as Damon's character, waiting on the planet for a rescue. That you don't have a visceral, I hate this guy, why did he lure them?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I would have done the same thing.
That guy's, he basically went crazy on this.
Yeah. Went crazy. And,
this is what putting someone in a cell by themselves does, basically.
Oh.
He was in a prison cell by himself,
Yeah,
no human contact. Also, the soundtrack is amazing. This is probably my favorite Hans Zimmer soundtrack. Hans Zimmer, Nolan soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, about that. I liked it a lot. I did like the score a lot, but
there is a question that it raises, which is interesting, which is there's a little bit of the woke environmentalism in it, right? Humans destroyed the earth, so we got to leave. But it's also very important that we save all humanity, right?
Yes.
For some reason.
Yes.
We have to put embryos in this ship and send it here. We got to send this other guy here. But you're never told why.
So, yeah. And this is something I actually struggled with when I was ranking it because I was kind of questioning myself. Why did I like this movie so much?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I like... Because I actually... When thinking back on it, I was like, I like that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it was about preserving humanity. I like that it was, and I started to question myself over those matters because, this is a thoroughly godless movie, of course. And I thought, I'm just cheering on humanism here. But there was something different because of the interjection of the ideas that Nolan spoke to about love.
Yep.
And love being something that is one of the few things that can transmit over time and without, barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And that idea, that part of humanity, which, you and I would say we inherit only from our Creator.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in it of ourselves without Him. That right there was what I think probably what made me move it so far up the list.
I also think, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but the soundtrack also, I know it's sound, but it hints at something much higher, something transcendent.
I absolutely agree.
Right? it's not just a sci-fi movie soundtrack to me. It's much different.
Yeah, I would agree. There's almost an element of the Mr. Slugworth's going to get on me for saying this, but there's almost something of like the classical music that was written to glorify God about it.
He went to cathedrals and played pipe organs for some of some of the tracks. So that's probably contributing to it a little bit, but still the whole, if you listen to it, you just get that sense of going higher and higher, not further into outer space.
No,
right?
No. Elevated as opposed to distance. Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. Transcendent.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 Actually, I think a lot of our thoughts on Interstellar are very similar too. I was surprised. I actually thought you'd have it a little bit higher.
Well,
I knew you wouldn't have it at 1 like me, but I thought it might be a little higher.
That's really interesting. You have it at 1. So number 2, I have Prestige, which you have a little lower. We talked about that. You have Dark Knight at 2, and I have it at 1, and you have Interstellar at 1.
Yes.
So they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Dark Knight doesn't beat Interstellar. Does for me, and I don't even know if I could tell you why.
So okay, so again, I'm beating the same stupid drum, and I know this will be annoying to everyone listening to this and to you, but the grief thing in Dark Knight is a huge thing, because I think it's what actually makes the difference between a Bane and a Joker, particularly the Heath Ledger Joker.
The greatest Joker, in my opinion.
Obviously.
Hands down.
I love Jack Nicholson, but man, yeah, no contest. So, thinking about that character, thinking about how he reacts to things, thinking about how there was something broken in the family, some moment of intense grief that made things go from hope to chaos in this man. That's what makes that villain.
Yes.
Not the unpredictability. The chaos is just a result of the inner workings of
no. And I actually wrote that down. The best line in the movie is when he says, he's talking to Harvey Dent, he says, nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan's horrifying. Like, he recognizes what nobody else sees about themselves, right?
Yes. And what Nolan does with that is great, because he puts Christian Bale at the other end of the spectrum, where his impossible choice is making a plan that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah,
but
it's a genius film, and I think probably the reason I have them swapped is because I think Interstellar has that hint of hope, hint of something out there greater, even if it's, Nolan wants to call it love, but we know what that really means.
Yeah.
But that differentness, that other, that transcendent humanity can grasp it, but only because someone put it in our hands, that kind of hope being in the movie. And that might be why I have Dunkirk at 3. Because at the end of it, you do get that hope. Even as the guy stands and the Germans come up.
Yeah.
But he's burnt the thing. He's proud of what he's done and what he's accomplished in saving lives. There's a hope there, even in the capture.
Yeah. That might actually be the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might persuade me on Interstellar to move it up. There's something about Dark Knight. I'd have to probably think about it a lot more. Just what it's showing us. It's real. It's almost like it's a documentary on human depravity.
Yes, that's what it is.
Right, and in both sides, right? In Batman too.
But when you walk out of the theater from having seen that movie, you think in your mind what was there a smile on your face?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Dark Knight. Probably not, I would say. Probably just said that's a great movie. That was a great movie. Yeah.
That was a great movie. But there's almost some excitement to it, right? Like I don't understand the compelling nature of the Joker. Why, in a way, there's a little bit of you that's like, I'm not rooting for this guy. I want
Well,
him to
no,
lose.
because that would be bad, right?
Exactly. But at the same time, you're like, he's making a lot of interesting points.
Well, and have you seen The Joker?
No, I have not seen the new one. No.
That is such a huge difference, which is why Heath Ledger's Joker is great and Joaquin Phoenix is terrible. So you have to watch that, then we can talk about it. But
Okay.
that movie I left like almost disgusted.
Yeah.
Just awful. Dark Knight, not so much. You actually have a little, like you said, a little bit of compassion for Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well, because you think it's something that was done to him.
Yeah. And I don't want to give it away, but in The Joker, it's not that way at all. No. It is, but it isn't. I won't say anymore. But
yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. The problem, and we ranked all 10 movies, but some of them are so close. It would be like,
yeah, right.
Very. We're talking like tenths of points here in my estimation.
I agree. I think the top 5 is really difficult. I find it extremely interesting that other than, okay, so we were a little further off on Dunkirk from each other.
I could be convinced to slide Dunkirk in the top 5. Probably if I watched it again.
So then I'm going to follow that up by noting that it is interesting to me that the one movie that we're far off on is still this awful Inception.
I think you just don't understand it.
I keep saying it's awful. It's good. If somebody else had made it, I wouldn't have been as disappointed.
Oh, that's different. That's different.
Oh, I understand that's another argument, but when I compare it to these other ones, I just don't see it in the top 5.
I can't believe you don't think it's as good as, or that Batman Begins and Memento are better.
Well, as I said, Batman Begins at 6, Inception at 7, and I literally have drawn on my piece of paper 2 arrows pointing to both of them because it's like, to me, it's about the same.
All right. That's fair. This is a long episode.
It is a long episode. We should wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. We will post the Twitter poll with both lists, which are just enough dissimilar to make it hard for people, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope people think about this.
I hope people don't just go to number 1 and say, yeah, I like Dark Knight.
That's going to happen, but that's okay.
That's okay. No, this was fun.
I hope other people can embrace despair.
See, we all have despair.
That's true. It is a unified.
Actually, you could probably argue it's more prevalent than the hope piece, right?
Yes, and I think particularly this year.
Oh my gosh, yeah! Is Dark Knight the 2020 movie?
Right, exactly. I mean, I would love to know. I would love to know stats on every year since its release.
Oh,
I wonder if it's
what years
like this year.
Oh, it was released in 2008, right at the bust, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it would be interesting. All right, we'll wrap it up. We will post the poll, and if anybody makes it through a 51-minute episode,
we're sorry, but we really like Chris Nolan.
Yeah, no, I don't even care if anybody listens. This was fun.
Yeah, it was.
All right, and we will see you or talk to you or something soon.
All right.
We tanks.
We tanks.